Lifetime's intimate portrait, Constance Marie.
Constance Marie Intimate Portrait.
As George Lopez's wife on his hit series, Constance Marie's gifts are finally being recognized by millions of fans.
You know what gets out bloodstains? Human saliva. Go ahead, drool on your shirt, I'll show you.
I just can't believe how I've gone from the little girl who wished that she fit in and there was somebody like her on TV to actually being the person that's up there.
This is it. This is crossover. This is mainstream. This is the big leagues.
She's now on something that a lot of people see. They embrace her and feel like they know her.
She's on the fast track now.
She may be red hot on the red carpet these days, but this star has had a long and difficult rise to stardom.
One of the best ways to describe me is I'm a survivor.
A lucky break launched her career. Then stereotypes blocked her path.
I didn't realize how Latin I was until I became an actress. It was really sort of a rude awakening to the limitations that people put on me.
But by staying true to herself, Constance Marie found success on her own terms and eventually became a role model for Latinas everywhere. Now, a story of overcoming pain, overriding stereotypes, and overdue success. This is Lifetime's intimate portrait of Constance Marie.
My story, my words.
Constance Marie is a sitcom superstar.
I love comedy. I've always loved laughing. So I was a huge junkie for sitcoms.
She broke through in 2002 as the sexy and sassy wife on the hit George Lopez show.
Are you a shut-in? Are you gonna die in 6 months? Then get off my chicken.
Constance wants to spin off, do the Constance Marie show, and have at it.
Yes! Thank you.
But your best shot is with me.
But it's been a struggle for Constance to overcome stereotypes on her rise to stardom.
She's an actress. She doesn't want to be pigeonholed, and being Latino was not gonna help you be anything but pigeonholed. So I think it's been a bit of a struggle for her.
Constance's success is even more impressive because growing up, she couldn't find any role models on TV. Until a superhero came to her rescue.
I was like, oh my God.
When the wide-eyed kid discovered that Wonder Woman star Linda Carter was half Mexican, it allowed her to dream of fame.
She's a good car, good job. She doesn't have an accent, and she was Wonder Woman. So that really inspired me a lot.
As a minority actress in America, she's worked hard to break through barriers, making a name for herself as both a serious actress and funny girl.
She began as a dancer, and then came the acting, and then the comedy.
You were right. She's hilarious.
I think sometimes she's even funnier when she doesn't mean to be, when she's kind of serious about something.
There's absolutely nothing left to do. Wanna have sex?
Constance had to learn how to laugh. Her childhood was filled with poverty and heartbreak. Constance Marie Lopez was born on September 9, 1965. She was the first of 2 children born to Carlos and Nancy.
When she was born with very dark hair but very iridescent skin, very pearl-esque. And then when she hit about 4 months, she got very dark. So we just called her Cocoa Puff because she was the little chocolate person.
Constance was a beautiful little girl when she was growing up. She was always happy, always just seemed to have this energy, that just kept rising and rising.
As a third-generation Mexican-American, Constance grew up poor in East Los Angeles. Her family moved from apartment to apartment, finally settling in the area of West Hollywood.
We did not have a lot of money. I was just a little office person, a secretary. I mean, I always had skills and stuff, and I could always get a job. But it was very close. I had to pay rent, buy shoes, buy clothes. It was not easy.
We got small things for birthdays and for Christmas, but we really didn't need gifts. We just needed love, and we got plenty of love.
We had some really, really rough times. The one thing that we always had was eggs. That's what we would have: eggs for dinner, we would have eggs for breakfast, and it was like a good meal, and you could fix it really fast, and it was relatively inexpensive.
Her father worked nights as a DJ and was rarely home. Finally, his schedule took its toll on the family. Her parents divorced in 1969.
It was just like one day Dad lived with us, and the next day Dad didn't.
Constance's stern but loving mother handled the breakup by telling her 5-year-old daughter to get over her heartbreak and move on.
We've changed our lives, and Daddy, who's not around a lot of times anyway, is just in a different place. So it is what it is.
But a 5-year-old girl can't always control her emotions, and Constance struggled to understand the splintering of her family.
I think in everybody's heart as a daughter, they're daddy's girl. But I only ever really remember my dad always living in another house and having a whole separate life.
The divorce and its aftermath marked the beginning of her lifelong struggle with abandonment issues and low self-esteem.
Not having a father around is kind of very difficult because you don't really have anybody around that protects you.
I think that Constance probably repressed a lot of emotions because she had to be strong.
When times got tough, the family moved in with Constance's grandmother. Suddenly, the little girl found herself being raised by 2 strong, no-nonsense women.
My mother and my grandmother are survivors, and I think that's one of the best ways to describe me is I'm a survivor.
I think that she learned that she didn't need to have anyone else helping her. She could stand on her own 2 feet at an early age and was able to motivate herself to succeed in, whatever she wanted to do.
I only know women being on their own doing everything. It's not necessarily the best way. It's conducive to a lot of stress, but life gives you tough things sometimes. And you can either sit down and wallow in it, or you can say, okay, fine. I don't have time. The rent's got to be paid. My kids got to be taken care of, and we just got to move on.
On the outside, she was tough as nails. But on the inside, Constance was suffering. As a young Latina in a predominantly white neighborhood, she felt different and lost. She turned to television for successful role models, but found none.
The only roles and people of Latin descent that I would see on TV were the recent immigrant who came from a horrible country and was illegal, or a busboy or a maid, and I used to go, Ma, where's all the Latinos that are like us?
After discovering Wonder Woman's Mexican heritage, Constance was inspired to enroll in a drama class at LA's Fairfax High School.
I failed drama class because I was so afraid and so shy I couldn't really get up there in front of everybody, even though I really, really wanted to, but I just couldn't quite do it yet.
The young teenager yearned to express herself in some artistic fashion. Then, when she discovered dance, her whole life changed.
I've always loved dance. I mean, I really cannot in my mind remember a time when I wasn't dancing. My mom always tells a story about when I was little and I was in the crib, and she noticed that one day I was bouncing to the beat of the music for the whole song.
There she was, just moving out, and yeah, she was dancing at 9 months. I mean, and to the rhythm, that's what blew our minds.
My mom thought she's probably gonna grow up and be a dancer, and that's how I started.
The hottest craze when Constance was a teen was breakdancing. The urban phenomenon that took the country by storm. She became a regular at LA's secret hotspots.
They'd get in a whole circle and they would battle, which means one person would challenge another person and then somebody else would go and try to outdo them. And I just remember going, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
For months, Constance watched from the sidelines, then slowly began to test her talents on the dance floor.
I think it was probably where I channeled a lot of my angst about my dad or not having money and being Latin and being different, and all that stuff, when I was dancing, none of it mattered. And it sort of set me free and made me feel like I had my little escape. And it made me feel special.
Constance immersed herself in the underground nightclub subculture, a rebellious and dark world full of pressures she couldn't resist.
I think in the 80s there was a lot of cocaine, there was a lot of pot, and a lot of drinking. It's like a whole drug culture, and I did partake in some of them.
She was staying out a lot. I mean, at that point, she'd spend her night over at her friend's house, and I'd quiz her. What are you doing? I mean, because I was concerned. I mean, she's my daughter. I don't want her getting hurt or anything.
Well, Mom wasn't a big fan of the nightclubs, but, I had her convinced that, I was still going to school. And I wasn't, coming home all wasted or anything. I was dancing, and I think she bought it for a really long time.
Constance took a job to support her passion for dance and all that went with it, but she spent more time working and hanging out at the clubs than focusing on her schoolwork. Soon, the late nights began taking a serious toll.
When I got to my senior year and they were telling me either I wasn't going to graduate because I didn't have enough credits and I wasn't focusing enough, some of my friends that were friends then, they went to jail. And I thought, ooh, that's not going to be me.
Constance dressed the part, but never went the way of her wild friends.
I was wearing like hideous outfits. Every bracelet imaginable, buzz-cut short hair and a big blonde streak. Basically, I was hideous. So I think being so hideous and more involved in the dancing kept me out of a lot of the bad stuff that was going on then.
When Constance graduated high school in 1983, late-night dancing was still her lifeline, and her mom wasn't happy with the lifestyle.
I says, if you're going to be here, then you got to be here. But if you're not going to be here, then you got to bail. Sorry.
Our relationship was getting contentious. She said, when are you moving out? And I said, right now.
Coming up next, David Bowie says, let's dance.
I thought this is the trippiest thing ever, but it's so cool.
Later, Constance confronts her emotional demons.
It was pretty intense because there was a lot that I had stored up in there.
When Lifetime's intimate portrait of Constance Marie returns.